Sometimes the hardest battle you will ever fight is the one against yourself. You might think strong people were always strong, but the truth is the opposite. Almost everyone who looks powerful today started from a place where they didn't even believe in themselves. Their life was built out of pain, fear, embarrassment, and failure, and all it took was one real moment, one decision, one step more than the average person. If you've been waiting for that moment that could rebuild your life, listen closely, because this story is about turning your deepest struggles into unstoppable strength. I wasn't always the person I am today. This strength you see didn't come from comfort or luck. It came from years of pain, confusion, and fighting not just the world around me, but the world inside my own mind. For most of my life, I felt like I was just ordinary, not special, not talented, not impressive. Deep down, though, I had this tiny desire, this urge to someday become someone different. Not better than others, just better than the broken version of myself. Years ago, I was tall, heavy, and struggling. The day I walked into that recruiting office, they looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You don't qualify, not physically, not mentally." It hit me harder than I expected because they weren't lying. They told me I'd have to lose an unbelievable amount of weight in just a few months just to have a chance. But something sparked inside me that day, a small flame that said, if you ever want to change your life, let this embarrassing moment be the start. 3 months later, I walked back in, not with a new body, but with a new mind. And that new mind was the real beginning. I realized that if I wanted a place in this world, I had to rebuild my mind before I rebuilt anything else. A confused mind sees struggles as walls. A clear mind sees them as tools. So I decided every challenge in my life wouldn't be a burden, it would be a weight I could lift to grow stronger. My childhood was filled with pain, emotional and physical, a home that felt more like a battlefield. But I flipped the script in my head. What if all this suffering wasn't happening to me, but was preparing me? What if this chaos was my training ground, a place to build armor? I could have sat there asking, why me? Why is my life like this? But instead, I started asking, how can I use this to become something more? That question changed everything. Pain can destroy you if you fight against it, but if you walk straight into it, it becomes fuel. People often ask me, how did you get through those moments? How did you become so strong? The truth is simple. I only asked myself one question over and over. Can you take one more step? And almost every time, the honest answer was yes, even when it felt like no. Most people can take one more step. They just choose not to. That single choice separates dreamers from those who actually walk the path. Some people live a full lifetime without ever stepping outside their mental comfort zone. But your real identity, your real life, begins the moment you step outside that box. True confidence isn't built by shouting affirmations in the mirror. It isn't built by motivational speeches or hype. Real confidence is built on a foundation of actions, hard work, scars, discipline, and all the moments when you kept going when no one was watching. I carried a mental journal, not of achievements to brag about, but proof that I had faced my demons and moved forward. And whenever I doubted myself, I looked at that invisible journal and said, if you survived that, you can survive this. I grew up in a small town, the kind of place where people only believed in the future they could see, and no one dreamed bigger than their surroundings. But I had to break out of that mental cage. If you have a dream, it must reach beyond your environment. But a dream is only the beginning. Without work, it becomes a fantasy, and that's where most people get stuck.
When I decided to pursue the military path, the dream lasted maybe a few hours. After that, it was replaced by a long list of things I had to do. Early mornings, pain, discipline, sacrifice, and pushing beyond every limit I thought I had. That's the shift from talking to becoming. The world is full of people who say, "I'll start tomorrow. One day I'll change, when the timing is right." But until you wake up when you don't want to, until you move when your body screams no, until you silence your excuses, nothing changes. If you wake up and ignore what you know is important for your future, you must ask yourself, how much do I really care about my own life? The core purpose of life is growth, mental, emotional, and personal growth. Without that, you're just counting days. There were mornings when everything was against me. Pain, cold, bad weather, no motivation, no support, no comfort. But all those moments became reasons to keep going, not reasons to stop. Here's the hidden truth. Most people refuse to do the hard thing, and that's why if you choose the hard path, you automatically rise above the crowd. Most people want shortcuts. Most people want the easy way, but the path that builds you is the long and difficult one.
Years later, during real missions, I realized all that training was preparing me for the moment you stand behind a door, not knowing what's waiting on the other side. It could be nothing. It could be danger. It could be your last breath. And in that moment, you must accept the possibility of death and still move forward. That is the warrior mindset. Not the absence of fear, but action despite fear. A warrior isn't born brave. A warrior becomes brave by walking toward what terrifies them. And this mentality isn't just for combat, it's for life. Whatever door you choose to open in your life, a career, a dream, a relationship, a goal, if you're going to open that door, open it fully. Don't hesitate, don't peek, don't go halfway. If you're going in, go all in. The world will remember your commitment, not your hesitation. People can dislike me if they want. They can judge every choice I've made. But one thing they can never say is that I didn't show up with everything I had. If you enter, enter with force. If you start, go deep. If you choose, follow through to the end. Because when you look back one day, you'll realize the only person you truly needed was yourself. And if you're still breathing today, if you're still standing, then you still have one more step left in you. You can still grow. You can still change. You can still become the version of yourself you once only dreamed about. If this message hits something inside you, then take your next step right now. Subscribe to the channel. Comment, "I'm ready to take one more step." And don't miss the next videos. Your new journey begins today.